How to get a girl to like you. It's actually a very simple 3-step process, but of course I'm gonna delve deep into each step so that you'll have a full understanding of what is going on and why. The first step is to exhibit value. This is what causes the initial attraction. So let's imagine that everyone has a number floating on top of their heads. This number correlates with how much you can offer the world, the amount of money you have, your looks, your network, your popularity, your knowledge, and so on. And as shallow as it sounds, we're attracted to people with higher numbers than us, people who are of higher value, because simply they have more things to offer. We believe they can make us happier. However, we can't actually see this number. We can't look through someone's wallet or find out exactly how many people they know, so instead we use our senses to estimate what a person's value is. In order to get her to like you, you have to exhibit high levels of value. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you need to have tons of money or a nice looking car or a six-pack. All of those things do scream value and they absolutely will help, but there are 2 traits that scream high value more than any other trait out there. And the first is social proof. Let's say you see someone with a ton of friends. You think to yourself, wow, he must be a great person. And if you see him with a ton of girls that he's always hanging out with, you think, wow, he must get laid often. This is what people see from a third-person perspective. If you want a girl to like you, you have to show her that you're well liked by others. And there's no shortcut to this. This means you have to hone your social skills to a point where you have an abundance of friends, to a point where you can give off an incredible first impression. Check out some of my videos on communication skills and start talking to everyone. Nothing catches a girl's, or frankly anyone's eyes, more than a guy who walks into a room and he's interacting with everyone and everyone is just happy to see him. The second is confidence. Someone who projects confidence through their body language comes off as someone who is of extremely high value. If you look at men who have tremendous amounts of power and wealth, you'll notice that they walk and talk a certain way. In general, their movements are slower and they take up more space. Slower because they know they have control over their world, they're not in a rush, and they take up more space because they aren't scared of being vulnerable. Because it's a biological instinct for us to close up our body when we feel threatened or scared. And when you see someone acting this way, you assume they have something. You assume they are of high value. And the great thing about confidence is that you don't need to be the CEO of a company or the leader of a gang. All you have to do is learn how to imitate this body language. If you can just mimic their body language, you'll give off the same aura they do. You might say, well, I can't fake it. I don't want to lie to myself. I don't want to pretend that I'm confident in myself when I have nothing to be confident about. Well, confidence is a state of mind. There's no prerequisite that you need to meet in order to be confident or act confident. You could be a starving, unemployed kid who lives in his mother's basement and have a ton more confidence than someone who makes 6 digits. And upon meeting you, people will find you more attractive. Of course, only if you teach yourself how to do it. I'll do a video about confident body language and how you can adopt it, and I'll put a link here. The second step to getting a girl to like you is to exhibit desire, and this is what causes the seduction. This step is actually the make it or break it step for most guys out there. So you don't have to have sky levels of value for a girl to find you attractive. What you do need, however, is the ability to show her that you're interested in her. See, a woman will separate every man she meets into one of 3 different categories. The first is the yes category. This is for men that she's willing to sleep with and date. The second category is the no category. This is for the guys she is not willing to sleep with or date. If you ever got friend-zoned by a girl, this is the category that you landed yourself in. And the third and final category is the maybe category. How it works is if a girl meets you and she finds you attractive, she will place you into the maybe category. In order to enter the yes category, you have to show her that you desire her. If you don't, and there's only a short window of time in which you can, you'll automatically get thrown into the no category. This is why so many people who try to text or talk their way into a girl's pants get friend-zoned. Because you're not showing desire by acting like their friend. However, there are 2 very effective ways to show her that you desire her, and they are Number 1, to tell her that you find her attractive. And this is a more upfront approach, and it works very well because it's very rare in today's culture. Now you might say, well, what about all those guys who just catcall women all day? That doesn't work. Well, yeah, of course, because they skip the first step. When someone who hasn't built attraction tells you that you're attractive, it comes off as creepy. But if you've already been introduced and she does find you attractive, it becomes charming. The second way to go about exhibiting desire is through touch. Touch is significantly more powerful than words. Think back to a time where somebody accidentally stroked your hand and it just sent tingles all over your body. There is no better way to show a girl that you desire her than to touch her. Now, of course, you can't just jump in and start groping a girl. There is an order of what is acceptable. There's something called the Kino Escalation ladder, and I'll leave a link right here for you to take a look at it. But essentially, it's an order of which you can use touch to exhibit your desire. Now, in order for you to exhibit desire, you have to do it in person. Always in person, which is why I highly suggest you to use text to get her to come out on a date with you. Then exhibit desire from there. A key thing to remember is that the longer you wait, the more likely she'll put you into the no category. And when you do finally come about telling her that you do like her, you'll get the whole, oh, I don't see you that way speech, because guess what? You took too goddamn long. And now you're in the no category, which brings us to the next and final step. The final step to getting a girl to like you is to refrain from acts of neediness. This is a little bit different in that it's a step that consists of something not to do. There's nothing more off-putting in the world than someone who is needy. It's considered to be one of, if not the most unattractive trait out there. But what exactly is being needy? Well, Mark Manson describes it as prioritizing another person's perception of you over your perception of yourself, and that this prioritization leads to all unattractive behavior in men, whether directly or indirectly. I know it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around it, but here are some examples of needy behavior. Changing the way you act to try to get her to like you. Constantly texting her. When she does something you don't agree with, you don't say anything. Buying things for her that are unwarranted. Seeking validation. Getting angry when a girl rejects you. There's a whole lot more, but you kind of get a gist of it. What's important is the following. The most effective way to not be needy is to adopt what's called an abundance mindset. This is when you know you have multiple options available. Take for example a salesman who closes, which means he makes a sale every single day. Let's say one day he just happens to not make a sale. Does he get flustered? Does he get angry? No, because he knows he'll close a sale tomorrow. This all comes down to understanding the numbers game. To adopt an abundance mindset, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. Because if you do, then that one basket becomes precious and signs of neediness will appear. Never limit yourself to one girl unless you're dating her. Don't only talk to one girl because you will instinctively start acting needy because she's the only girl in your world. Approach and talk to many girls. Have as many girls as possible in your friend group. This way you'll naturally avoid any signs of neediness. When someone needy expresses desire, he becomes creepy. When someone who is not needy expresses desire, he becomes charming. It's a fine line, but a very distinctive one. And that's it. These are the 3 steps that you need to achieve in order to get her to like you. Show signs of high value, then immediately show her that you desire her, and no matter what, avoid becoming needy. Because if you do, it's game over. If you found value in this video, I'd suggest you check out some of my other videos on dating and relationships, or some of the ones on improving your communication skills. Remember guys, anything can be learned and anyone can learn them. No matter how poorly you view yourself, I assure you that this stuff can be learned and eventually mastered.